looking at the soil's capacity to hold on to nutrients, and specifically it's going to be holding on to positively charged nutrients. Now, positively charged nutrients in the soil are things like ammonium, potassium, magnesium, and all of these stick on to certain elements in the soil which holds them like a sponge. If your soil's got a lot of clay or a lot of organic matter in, then that will be really good at holding on to those soil nutrients. We're also going to look at the behaviour as well of some of the other soil nutrients, of nitrate as well. And the way that we're going to be doing that is we're going to be using two different kinds of dyes to mimic the behaviour of the positively charged nutrients and the negatively charged nutrients like nitrate. So the equipment that you'll need for this are some soil that you've collected, and again, making a comparison between two fields under different management will be a really good idea. I've got some soil from a permanent grassland and from an arable field here. Other bits of equipment we'll need are, again, some ordinary kitchen plastic funnels and a couple of glasses to collect what comes through. We will need some little jugs for pouring the dyes on. The dyes themselves are methylene blue dye, that's representing our positively charged nutrient particles, and eosin dye, and that's representing our negatively charged nutrient. Now, these dyes are available from school suppliers, and because they are chemicals, you have to be a little bit careful when you're handling them. So I'm going to also be wearing some polythene gloves. And also when you're disposing of those, you'll need to, you can't just pull them down the sink, you'll need to put them into a bucket full of sawdust, and then if you can pop that into the compost heap, that should deal with the dyes adequately. So we're going to need a piece of kitchen towel or two, which we're going to use as a filter paper. What we'll do is just fold that up into quarters and open up one side, and we can pop that into the funnel. You need about 3 dessert spoons of soil in each filter paper. So we're going to start with the methylene blue dye. I'm just pouring about 70 or so millilitres into this small jug, and then I'm going to pour it onto the surface of the soil. If you make a comparison between the colour of the dye before it goes through the soil and after it's come through the soil, so now I'm going to repeat the process, but this time using the eosin dye, and this is mimicking negatively charged nutrients in the soil. So that would include any soluble phosphate, but also nitrate in the soil. As you can see, the colour of the dye that we poured in is more or less the same as the dye that's coming out of the bottom of those funnels. Now this means that the soil is not holding on to any of that dye. It's a negatively charged dye. The clay and the organic matter in the soil are also negatively charged, and so they're pushing away that dye as it comes through the soil, they're keeping it in solution, and it's washing straight down into the groundwater. Now that's exactly what will happen to the nitrate that you apply to the soil, unless it can be taken up by a plant.